Stream VODs are moving to a different channel. Go and subscribe to it right now! Hello everyone who just thinks, holy ship, why is building ships so hard? I am BorderWise, and welcome back to From the Depths, and a tutorial of sorts. It's more of a checklist, and more of helpful tips and advice, rather than actually demonstrating something. But we will blow stuff up, so demonstrations will be here. Now, as you've probably guessed by the title and thumbnail of this video, what makes a good ship? This is something that was suggested to me as a video topic quite some time ago, finally getting around to it. And it's a good question. What makes a good ship? What makes a good anything from the depths? Now, craft categorization in From the Depths is a little bit finicky. Like, it's finicky in real life, like, already. So, for the purposes of this video, I'm describing a ship as a surface displacement vessel. So we're not talking about hydrofoils or amphibious craft or anything like that. Just, it's something like, well, what you see here. The Marauder, which is the perfect ship. It is, in fact, the superior combat vessel. Google that if you don't believe me. So, there is a few things that I personally consider to be the hallmarks of a good ship in From the Depths. Bearing in mind this is a little bit subjective because it depends on your playstyle, it depends on what specifically you want your ship to do. But there's a few things in common, like across various ships that I've seen in From the Depths, both like for factions, on the workshop, and just all over the place, really. So, the first and most important thing is passive floating. Why is this important? Well, if your ship floats by itself, it doesn't need any help whatsoever to stay afloat, and the Marauder is actually demonstrating this right now, being made mostly of wood, that is tremendously useful. It's like, basically it means it's not using up props, which is this kind of thing. It's not using any kind of power or any kind of, like, it's not burning materials in order to stay afloat, which means this thing can get its engines blown out, and it can still float and, by extension, fight. Maybe not move because its engines are blown out, but that is important. So many, especially back in the day, you see a lot of craft just with like lots and lots of up props, which sometimes you need, but generally it is better if your ship does not rely on any kind of power to stay afloat, because that's one of the main advantages of having a ship. If you are using huge amounts of power and burning huge amounts of materials to keep your thing at the correct altitude, it might as well be an airship or a thruster craft. You might as well put it into space. It's arguably easier. So, good ship floats by itself. The next thing on the list, which the Marauder is not particularly good at demonstrating, is redundancy. So, like, I'm mostly going to be using faction craft to demonstrate this kind of thing, because that's something that anyone can hop into From the Depths and spawn and see for themselves. Bear in mind, faction craft are not perfect by design, but the Stronghold is a pretty good example of redundancy. You will notice that it has spares of damn near everything. Oh, this thing is spawned 100 meters away. That's very awkward for our Marauder. Right, you'll notice that the Marauder has ceased existing, and possibly, if it was more redundant, it would have survived better. But anyway, here's the Stronghold. What do I mean by redundancy? Well, as I did a video on redundancy a long time ago, and like the concept of points of failure. Basically, you don't want any one block on your ship being the block that, if it's destroyed, causes the whole thing to die or fall apart. So what do I mean by that? You will notice that the Stronghold has 3 AIs, not just one. They all have different jobs as well, so that's very useful. It also has multiple guns. It's got, of course, 2 big ones, 4 big ones, I should say, 2 honking big crown cannons there, but then a whole bunch of smaller ones, so there's not just one firing piece, one weapon that can get blown up and, like, ruin the whole ship. It's got spares of a lot of things. In fact, if we go in here, I suspect, like, let's see here, let's pause. Really should have spawned this in on my team. Where is it? Screw it, I'm going to spawn it in on my team. Actually, no, I'm not. Right, what's over here? That is ammo storage by the looks of it? No, it's torpedoes. It's got multiple... What is it got multiple? It's got multiple propellers, definitely that. It's got more than one sonar decoy. That's what these things are back here. let's see here. I'm seeing, what is in here? That's steam components by the looks of it. Has it got one big steam engine? It's got more than one AI compartment, that's for sure. But in any case, more than one thing, because in From the Depths, especially if what you're building is a ship, it's not if it gets blown up, it's when it gets blown up. And there's a reason why I'm stressing redundancy with ships specifically. We'll get to that. Like, we will get to that. Alright, so, the next thing on the list is good active defenses. Like, this might not be so relevant for a smaller ship, but then again, smaller ships have very limited use in From the Depths, because it's basically like, alright, you want something that is tied to water, small, and basically probably can't outrun or outfight anything that can fly. Good idea. But, good active defenses is pretty much essential on ships. Weirdly enough, and the main reason for that is that they tend to be slower, so you'll notice there's a lot of drag on this thing. Top speed of the Stronghold is around 33 meters per second, not bad for a ship, but compared to how fast things can get in From the Depths, that is desperately slow. So you need something that can really take a lot of punishment. So if I spawn in, ooh, what am I going to spawn in? The Eerie is always fun. I'm going to spawn in the Eerie on... oh no, it is a Grey Talon's Graft. The Eerie might actually win now, think about it. Because it is just so cool like that. This is not the last time you've seen the Eerie, by the way. So you'll notice that the Stronghold is getting bullied by crams a little bit. However, it is also shooting down a lot of crams. So that's important because, especially something like the Stronghold, this is a big fat thing. It's not exactly evasive, so you're gonna want to shoot down things before they hit you. In this particular case, it's, well, doing an okay-ish job. The Eerie does actually have pretty strong active defenses of its own. Zap zap. Wee, zap zap. Zap 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 zap. Wee. The Eerie is actually demonstrating a decent active defense. Hehe. But yeah, so imagine if the Stronghold didn't have that lamps, just how much more damage it would be taking. I think actually the Stronghold is losing. No, it isn't. It'd be a little bit worrying if it was. Whee! Whee! Anyway, basically, you can't dodge stuff, so it's probably a very good idea to shoot it down. Like, anything you can really use, really. So, and actually a combination of everything. The Stronghold does not have missile interceptors. Probably would work very well for her if she did. Wow, that was a good hit there. Nice. But yeah, so lambs, missile interceptors, seawards. I've done tutorials on basically all of those things. Oh hey, look at that! The Stronghold is winning. Down she goes, mayday. Active defense definitely helped with that. Yeah, so, another thing is versatility. So, you will notice that the Stronghold has anti-aircraft guns and stuff on it. I'm just going to delete everything right now and demonstrate. Let's go find... where are you? Let's demonstrate our friend here, which is going to be in Deepwater Guard colors, so don't mind how weird that looks. Here we have the Meg. Meg from accounting. We love her. She doesn't actually look that different. Alright, so versatility. Why is this so important for ships in particular? Well, because even ships which are decently fast, like the Meg, 48 meters per second is not enough to outrun things like thrustercraft, or spacecraft, or just any kind of flying thing. Or even other ships, if you get unlucky. Certainly, like, hydrofoils are way faster than that. Lightning Hoods ones especially. So you want your ships, in particular, to be versatile, to be able to take on a range of target types, so both on the water, above the water, below the water, stuff like that, because they are more likely than any other kind of craft to be caught out of position. So imagine this Megalodon is, like, I don't know, patrolling in the ocean here, and say Whitefly's ramming craft comes from Hyalorem over there that moves at something like 70 meters per second or something. The Meg can't run away. Let's pretend for a second that the Meg would be even remotely faced by any ramming craft the Whiteflyers have, because in reality she wouldn't be. She's too big, too scary. But the Meg is well prepared for stuff like that because she has honking big railguns with very good muzzle velocity. She has point defense. She's got that lovely array of particle cannon. She has a lot of torpedoes back here. Big ones. Where are they? Oh no, the torpedoes in the front. Shark ship. So lots of torpedoes, so she's not bothered by submarines. The railguns are actually super cavitating. And Sea was in the back here. And I should mention with the particle cannons, hit scan. Very good for fly swatting. So ideally a ship should be able to take on stuff that's flying, stuff that's fast, stuff that's slow, stuff that has good active defenses, stuff that isn't. So honestly, APS is like your best friend here, because like ships that are specialized can work, but if they get caught out by something, which has happened many times to me before when playing the campaign, if they get caught out by something they can't counter, you are in deep trouble. So it is best to have your specialized units be flyers or submarines and stuff that can kind of sneak away or outrun things they can't outfight. So yeah, ships, versatile. And also, while we're talking about that, is this guy isn't really demonstrating that, but one of my ships hopefully will be. Let's see here, where's the thing? Not that. My more up-to-date fleet over here, Palewood Ally fleet. So I've been playing through Steel Sovereigns, and like it's reinforced a lot of the lessons I've learned over the years playing the campaign. Where is the Icicle? There it is. So, here's the thing about Icicle. Your ships, because they might have to be stuck a long way from home doing whatever it is they do, need to carry quite a fair amount of material. The Meg actually carries a huge amount of material, almost like 500,000. Admittedly, she is a big girl who burns a lot of materials. But even the Icicle is like carrying like close to, not quite half her own material cost. Because, you know, it's hard to resupply out on the front line, far away from your resource zone. And in particular, your ships should really be carrying, well, something like this over here. Faction craft aren't allowed to use repair bots, but a bunch of repair tentacles is a very good idea, just to make sure, like, more so than any other craft, that if you get caught with your pants down, if you've got a little fleet of ships that gets damaged, you can repair itself. I should mention as well that I'm breaking my own rules a little bit here, because the Icicle is technically a hydrofoil, or at the very least it's a surface vessel that rides very high in the water. So yeah, that's quite helpful. And one of the most important things for a ship that makes a good ship is maneuverability. You will notice that the Icicle is quite long and skinny, because I have a crippling canoe addiction, and I tend to make things very long and skinny. That is bad for maneuverability, so as much as possible, you really want to make ships that can turn inside their own length if you had to. So, up props, try to avoid using those if you possibly can, but turning props and azipods and asymmetric thrust and all that jazz, the Meg actually has got a very good example of azipods on the back. This thing is bloody huge by campaign standards, but she maneuvers beautifully because she's got little azipods mounted on spin blocks. Big propellers pushing her along and allowing her to maneuver wherever the hell she wants to. Very important for a ship for two reasons. This helps their evasiveness, which they need as much of as they can get, because they tend to be slower if they're being dragged on by the water. But one of the worst enemies of ships is this. Land. So, from the devs, terrain avoidance is shaky, to put it mildly, so making your ships as maneuverable as they can possibly be really does help with them being able to actually do something about like not running aground on land. Let's just see if the Icicle can even do anything about this. Let's see if she's maneuverable enough. She is maneuverable enough. Also helps if they can reverse. Leave the sails at home. So, yeah, I have, like, talking about active defense, maneuverability, and all that kind of stuff, and being able to turn well. It all plays into the fact that ships, like, again, this is cheaty, this is a hydrofoil. I don't actually have many good ships of my own to show off at the moment. Most of them are outdated. But it plays into the whole thing that ships are more likely to be caught out of position than anything else, and they can also screw themselves over better than anything else, really, so they can run aground. Flying things don't have to worry about being run aground. So yeah. So the brief checklist and what makes a good craft, or at least what springs to mind first for me making a good craft, is passive floating, so it doesn't burn material unnecessarily. In this particular case, the icicle is made entirely out of wood and alloy, so, like, really if this thing sinks, it means the universe is broken. It's also got redundancy, so it's got 3 different AIs, all of which have maneuvers mounted on them, because it doesn't cost you anything extra. Also with priority set, by the way, so, like, they can all take over each other, don't get in each other's way. Good active defenses. It's got this nasty little spinning radar thing on top here, which acts as a brilliant missile distraction. Let's spawn in something with a lot of missiles, actually. That would be funny. Yonder is the Spectre. That particular Spectre is on my side. Let's spawn in it on something else. There we go, Spectre, there we go. So hopefully we can see the active defenses of this thing, and also because we don't want to get bored. That would be silly. So anyway, the other thing is versatility. You'll notice this thing has a laser. It has various types of caliber of guns on it. Very, very handy. It's also got that logistics. It's got decent material storage, repair tentacles, a few repair bots, and maneuverable enough that it can maneuver its way around the battlefield without running aground all the time, which is very important. How are we doing? Are we winning? Are you Yep, okay, yeah, we're winning, son. Alright, I think that's a pretty good demonstration. The Spectre is cheaper than us, so, you know, and smaller, so don't read too much into that. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good summation of what makes a good ship. If you disagree, or if you think I've missed something out, please do comment below. So yeah, passive floating, redundancy, good active defenses, versatility, a little bit of logistical capability in there, and maneuverability, turning inside its own length, whether through turning props or azipods or something like that. That makes a good ship. The icicle has done sterling service. It's like technically a hydrofoil. It's technically a hydrofoil, but like this thing's been hit by torpedoes enough that, like, you know, like it might as well be a ship. Real headache there, how many times it's been hit by torpedoes, really. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful, and if not, hopefully you've enjoyed me fumbling around in the designer a little bit, as I do. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps. And there's fun perks in it for you. Like, at the lowest tier, access to an exclusive Patreon Discord, and at the highest tier, you can request me to build or draw things for you. Speaking of drawing, I do art streams, and I also do streams of From the Depths and of other video games. I have 5 different YouTube channels right now, and you should go subscribe to all of them. And yeah, thank you all so much. Go forth, build good ships, or whatever ships bring you joy, and I'll see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell! Who's a good ship? Who's a good ship? Who's the best ship? It's you. Oh, yes. Oh, it's you, isn't it? You're a good ship.